The significance of Pentecost to the church is something that we need to walk through carefully, and we shouldn't ignore, because Pentecost was a Jewish celebration. And so, in our modern day of the New Testament church, we don't celebrate Pentecost in the way that the Old Testament Hebrews did. But Pentecost was the moment in history after Christ had ascended. And He had promised during the gospel narratives, during His earthly ministry, that He would leave, but that He would send the Comforter. He would send the Holy Spirit. And it was at that moment in Pentecost where the Spirit came and He empowered the early believers, specifically the apostles that were left. And Peter, who is almost a comedic personality in the gospel narratives. He is the one who constantly puts his foot in his mouth, constantly is having to be corrected by Jesus, but is in the inner circle. And because of grace and mercy, he is chosen to be the one who stands up in front of this throng, probably thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people, to proclaim the gospel there in the midst of a Hebrew celebration that was intended to remind the Hebrews of how God had always protected them. And here, Peter stands up and says, and let me tell you about the Messiah who is the eternal protection for all of humanity. Let me tell you who He is. And so Pentecost becomes this marker in history to really what many people would say, and that's the moment the church is born. That is when thousands come into the faith, and it goes from this little sect of believers who followed a Jewish rabbi from Nazareth who died and rose again, and suddenly the church breaks forth into culture. Suddenly it is that unstoppable force that no one can really deny any longer. Pentecost has taken on a new significance for us. It at one point is just a historical memory. Now it is the living reality of the moment that the Spirit of God seemingly burst forth on the